देखो योर की स्पेलिंग क्या होती है? योर देखो योर देखो योर देखो योर की स्पेलिंग क्या होती है? आप बताओ। नो यार राइट इट करूँ वहाँ पे। योर यहाँ से लिखो, यहाँ पे लिखो, यहाँ पे योर देखो योर
Evening, guys. How are we?
Hey.
Hiya.
Let me turn you back up. I turn my music down then on purpose. So I think, you know, you want the music to kind of fade out in like a DJ. DJ Fortune. That's what I'm going to call myself.
DJ Sitters.
How's it going, Lizzie? I've not seen you for a long time.
I know it's hours, isn't it?
They're all coming on now. Everyone used to get on 2 minutes early. Everyone now starts 2 minutes late. Everyone's too cool to be on time. That's what it is, isn't it?
I've got to shovel my dinner down in time.
So I've got some on the chat. We've got Emma. Hi, everyone. I know Emma's not feeling 100% at the minute, so bless her cotton socks. Hope you're feeling better soon. Hi, Rachel. Same to you. Not seen you for a long time. How are you? It's been at least, what, 4 hours, 5 hours?
Yeah, been too long.
We've got a great session tonight. Of course, we've got Kayleigh back. Kayleigh's coming into this special guest mode. Of course, thank you for last week stepping in. I think you did a fantastic session. Kay did a great session on mortgages. If you weren't there and you didn't see it, and same applies with any of the previous sessions, get on them. Get on our YouTube channel. First, I'll actually subscribe as well, because any new content that we put on there, you'll be alerted immediately. And the idea now over the next probably 4-6 weeks is we're going to put a lot of short, sharp videos on there around life cover, critical illness, income protection, open questions, overcoming objections. We might do a little bit of role play on there. We'll have some fun as well, maybe some quizzes, few jokes. If anyone's got a good joke, by the way, stick it on the chat tonight. We're up for a bit of fun tonight, I think. It's one of them. But obviously, it's been a lovely day, but I believe it's going to snow next week. So enjoy every minute of it while it's here. And yeah, I know it's in Lizzie's face and what you want about, but the rumor is Friday next week it's going to be snowing. So enjoy the weather. But as I say, we've got a great session tonight, and the session I'm going to share with you is the Sharpen the SAW event, Sharpen Your SAW event, shall we say? And it's all about wills and trusts and protection. Now, listen, wills and trusts are the #1 lead generation tool after referral and recommendation. I'll always come back to that. But they're a fantastic way of getting in front of new people, people that are associated with your clients that are in similar circles. I'm going to give you the ability to discuss with them what you've done for the friends and what you can do for them. And of course, what does everybody else want? What the friend has got. Do you agree, Kayleigh?
Completely agree.
Fabulous. So we're going to get going on the session. I'm going to start with, if I can, a congratulations. This week, we've had Lizzie Mannering, Megha Gupta, and Laura Flynn. All of you have been authorized by Fortune Financial and Primus as advisors. So you're well on your way now to becoming a superstar. You know, it was destiny that we met. I'm a big believer of that. You found Fortune Financial, we found you. So you were already off to a really positive start. And you've done so well over the last maybe 6 weeks to do your training matters portals, get your exams and reading out the way, you know, work with your mentor, whether that was Kate or Kayleigh or another advisor within the business. And of course, after hearing me chewing your ear off all the time with mentoring and motivational things and ideas and plans and, you know what I mean, getting you really in the mood for this moment. So Lizzie, Megha, Laura, I wish you the best of luck. Of course, we'll continue to be here for you moving forward. But I'll guarantee you'll be superstars. Of course, it's a contribution from both our side and your side. But one thing we don't have at Fortune Financial is any failure. You either win or learn. Big believer of that. And you'll have good times, you'll have tough times. But if you work hard and you work smart, not just work smart, because that's a lot of rubbish. If you work hard and work smart and you adapt certain processes that we've learned over the years that we're going to implement with you today and we've done over previous sessions, then you can't not be successful because you've already got the character, you're great people, you know what I mean? You've got your head screwed on, you know, you're smart people as well. And, you know, you've got that, you kind of portray trust to me, and that's what we bring into the company. And I think you'll do fantastic. So, you know, I want to wish you the best of luck. So moving on, we always start with a quote. This quote this week is in reference to the session, if I'm honest. And it says, stop selling and start helping. So let me say that one more time. Stop selling and start helping. Anybody want to chip in and tell me what I mean by that, or what the quote means by that? Because it ain't my quote. I'll pick on someone if not. Rachel. Are you there?
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Stop selling, start helping. What we're referring to?
So you're not a salesperson, are you? You're there to help someone get the best protection policy possible. So you're not about to sell them something. You're there to educate them and guide them.
Fabulous, good answer. So yeah, exactly that. You know, I don't believe we're salespeople in this industry. If you've got the knowledge, if you've got the character, the level of trust, and of course, confidence comes and experience comes with time, then you don't have to sell anything. All you need to do is advise and meet the need of the client. And one of our habits of Fortune Financial is listen more than you talk. So, you know, when you deal with your clients and you ask open questions and clients, you know, open up to you, sometimes it's good to just sit back, hear what they've got to say, but more importantly, hear how you can help them. So, you know, if it's people with children, I mean, what can you do for them? You know, you can give them financial security for the kids. You know, it's somebody who's self-employed. You should have that light bulb moment that comes up again that goes, you know what I mean? If you're not working, you're not earning, you're going to need some income protection. You know, and if you're a business owner, I mean, there might be tax efficient policies that you can pay for within your business. And of course, it's not all about protection. We're a mortgage brokers as well. So when it comes to helping people and giving them a real understanding of, you know, where the market is, where it's heading, of course, with regards to the products available and the ability to, you know, not concentrate on one lender and stay with one lender throughout. It's actually a matter of, you know, tailoring yourself to the right lender, meeting their criteria, and potentially taking better products, fixing on lower interest rates, or, you know, getting exclusive rates through you as a broker. It's about helping people. And how you do that is through knowledge. And I'm a big believer of that. So of course, the Sharpen Your SAW events are all about knowledge. It's all about sharpening your saw. It's about making you better at what you do. So you don't need to sell anything ever again. Just talk about what you have a passion for. And that's really important. If you've got a fire in the belly for income protection, then talk about income protection. That's what's important. That's what you care about. If you've got a fire in your belly for dealing with families, then put yourself in the circles of families and help families out. And if you want to be a one-stop shop and you want to do a little bit of here, there and everything, then you need to know everything. Don't claim to be a specialist and then not sharpen your saw. So stop selling, start helping. Ask the questions, ask the clients where they need the help. But also what we're going to come on to today is finding opportunities and locating opportunities where people need help. Because a lot of clients out there don't understand that they are leaving themselves vulnerable from a protection perspective. They've got areas that they need to address. And of course, financially, they need to put themselves in a better position. And especially at the moment where energy prices are increasing, you know, the cost of living is becoming more, it's important that you look after your clients and you meet their needs and ensure that they're financially secure as well. So sorry to go on that one, but really passionate about this one. Stop selling and start helping. Want to leave with you for today. Now, we talked about last week's session. Oh, 1 minute. How many financial advisors? Oh, we've got a joke. Sorry, let's just pause for a minute. Thank you, Liz. Here we go. How many financial advisors does it take to change a light bulb? Just one. He hires a light bulb installer to do it and then charges you 1% of your assets each year. Fantastic. 1-0 to Lizzie. I'll tell you what we'll do. If you bring a joke each week, anyone who puts it on the chat, we'll give you a point. So currently the league table for jokes on Sharpen Your SAW, you know, is headed by Lizzie. So thank you for that. Now you've probably seen this slide last week, a very similar slide. I've just tweaked it slightly. But when I watched the presentation back last week, it was presented very well, but there was a couple of areas that I wanted to add to it. So I left it in, and that's rare for me. Now, at the bottom of the screen last week, it said, don't be a tool. Now, I'm going to throw Kayleigh Cave into the equation here because Kayleigh came up with that saying, which of course she was just having a bit of fun with it. But basically what we're saying is, you know, do a proper job. Don't be restrictive in what you can offer. And don't think I'm a protection advisor and you've got 3 core products. There's a lot more to what you do. Now, first and foremost, you're part of Fortune Financial. You're part of an amazing company with great people, experienced advisors that do all different services, whether Kelly does home insurance. We've got Cade, Emma, now Lizzie. Of course, Meg has joined with regards to mortgages. We've got the likes of health cover where we've got Kayleigh, Shannon coming through for that as well. But then also you've got myself who's going to mentor you and enable you to understand how you can attract referrals, recommendations. You can refer business protection to me at the moment, and you can learn with me on that journey where we can do that together. And once you cast status, you'll be able to take a business protection license on. So there's a lot more to being just I suppose, a bog standard advisor. And I suppose going back to the previous slide, a salesperson that says, you know, do you want some protection? Nobody knows what protection is. Do you want some life cover? People don't like life cover. People are scared of life cover. What do we want to talk about life cover for? What do we want to talk about dying for? That's not what it's about. Critical illness cover. You know what I mean? Critical illness cover. When somebody feels like they have critical illness, they feel like they've addressed that need. But have they addressed the need? Is it still relevant? Does it meet the circumstances? Is it still covering the conditions that they can obtain today by means of the quality of the critical illness? So when we talk about doing a proper job, as an expert on critical illness, you need to know what the conditions are offered. And I mean number of conditions by the likes of the AIGs, the Avivas, the Vitalities, how Vitality differs with serious illness cover and critical illness. It's not about whether you get a critical illness. It's about whether you get a critical illness within the key features of the provider you have the cover with. And that's really important because as time goes on, medical advancements are becoming much more advanced. Diagnosis is becoming much earlier, which is fantastic news. So people are being cured earlier and people are living longer. So the critical illness policies have to adapt to that, which means the better, stronger policies that pay out sooner at a less severity. You need to know that. You need to be an expert in these areas. So it's not just a critical illness. And then income protection. You know what I mean? We're talking about income protection. If you just think income protection is there to protect your income, if you're off work, you get a lump sum, then you're wrong. There's a lot more to it than that. What percentage can it cover? We've seen the likes of LV, British Friendly. We're going to have the likes of Cirencester, the likes of AIG coming on doing income protection sessions, no doubt. And these providers for income protection all work differently. Some are occupation-based. They specialize in high-risk occupations. And some of them like to just be bog standard covers that maybe offer some features in the background that isn't all about financial incentives, but it's the ability to get you back to work as well. So the likes of physiotherapy, the likes of benefits where you can have counseling, or treatment even, or doctor's advice to be able to get you back to work sooner rather than later. So doing a proper job, what I mean by that is, I mean, be an expert and have the ability to talk about what each product is and why it's not just what it says it is on the tin. And that's really important. And when you do that, you'll show your clients that you care. You'll show them that you're professional. You can stand up to objections, because when somebody turns around to you and says, I don't need it because of this, you'll have the answer because you know the ins and outs of the products, and you can build a great relationship with your clients. And the last one for me is you can meet the need, not the budget. Because if a client turns around to you and says they have a budget of £10 a month, £15 a month, £20 a month, £30, £50 a month, whatever it may be, is that enough to meet their need? The reason they're giving that budget up front is because they don't understand the actual quality of the plans. They don't understand how they can be tailored specific to them, bespoke to them, and what they're going to do for them. So if you ask for a budget up front, naturally they're going to give you a lower budget because they don't know what they're going to get. So the better way of working is to establish the need of the client and meet the need. So if you meet the need of the customer and it is above budget, what will you do? I think Glenn said this a few weeks back. You'll ski downhill and you'll work backwards, but at least you went in with an honest recommendation for that client for what's going to give them the financial security they need. And trust me, when it comes to claim point, when it comes to the point where someone rings you up and says, did I take that cover? I know we discussed that plan. Did we put it in place for my husband or my wife? And you can say yes. That's when it'll really start to come to fruition with regards to what you do day to day. So, bring it on. We've got the superstar. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's not. It's Superwoman, Super Protection Advisor, Kayleigh Madden. How are you doing, Kayleigh?
Hey, how is everyone?
Yay!
I'm just going to briefly stop that show. I just want to see whose faces we've got. I can see we've got AJ, Maga, Emma's on the call. We've got Lizzie, Rachel. So we've got a good number tonight. Of course, if you're not watching this live and you watch it back on the video, you know, or you are watching it live, use the video and the ability to, you know, go back and answer some questions. But I wanted to do a little prize tonight before we get going, because someone this week has hit 1001 plus in protection for the month of March 22. So just to give you an idea of what that equates to, that is 20 clients paying £50 a month, or it's 40 clients paying £25 a month. Got to be careful with my maths here. It's 10 clients paying £100 a month, or it's silly amount of clients paying little premiums. And why that's important to hear is little premiums make big premiums. And the achievement that Kayleigh's done, and well done, Kayleigh, congratulations.
Thank
The
you.
achievement you've done in March, we're not talking a couple of clients paying big premiums. We're talking about quality business that's written in trust, that they've been offered wills, they've been tailored bespoke to the customers, and there's many, many clients that you've arranged cover for. So I've got you a prize, and you're down in the other office. You have to run up here now as quick as you can to my office and come and get it. So
do I really?
I've got you a Lion Bar. I'm only joking. You can come and get it later if you want. Don't worry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got a Lion Bar because obviously you're part of the pride, as everyone is. But because you hit 1001, I thought, come on, who doesn't want a Lion Bar? So tonight's session, Kayleigh, I'm just going to show you screen back up. The two lions at the bottom, by the way, represent our emoji board in the office. Kayleigh, do you want to explain what that is? Do you want to explain what that is, Kayleigh? What the emoji?
So the emoji board is, you know, the kind of obviously like the rockets that we do in the interim advisor chat. So the two lions means 1001. One lion means 501. 3 lions, which is what I'm going for next, is 2001. So every single time you meet your next sort of milestone, you get like an emoji, and that really represents, you know, your next part of the journey, I suppose. For For example, obviously Shannon, she's done 201, she's got a bronze medal, 301 today, and she got a silver medal. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we all have a bit of fun with it, don't we? I think that's what it's about. And there's two sides to it. You know, when you win an emoji, start getting a certificate, isn't it? You're like proud to get your emoji, but at the same time, you get to retain that emoji. No one's ever taken it off you. It's a little bit of a title. Now, we do have a couple of other ones in the business, you know, Advisor of the Month, which is a crown. You get to wear that all month, the following month, which is probably my favorite. That's for issued business. And we also have Employee of the Month as well for the internal staff. Of course, we get a star. So I actually owe 2 prizes out to 2 people for that back to back. And I know that they know that. There's little rumors going in the office, so I keep forgetting. So I do apologize. But we're going to get on to the session. It's about wills and trusts. And I'm going to pass you over to Kayleigh. Kayleigh, I'll let you give me a next slide, please. Every time we need a next slide, or if you feel you need it, I'll move it over for you. But yeah, the session, wills and trusts.
Hi everyone. So obviously, as you know, this session is about wills and trusts. So wills is kind of where I really grew my confidence from, and I think it will work for all of you as well. Like while you're still trying to educate yourself with the providers, get to know the knowledge, and kind of phrases with protection. So as Mark said, you know, you're not sales advisors, you're educating the client. And with that, you know, you're really getting the opportunities out of the client and making sure you're doing a proper job for them, which at the end of the day is why you're actually here, other than obviously to make some money. So, you know, we're financial advisors. We're not protection specialists. We're not mortgage advisors. We're financial advisors. We're there to look after the client. So we're going to slow it down. We're going to go through the process of, you know, why we do it, what's the incentive, and how to really take advantage of the opportunities that the wills can provide for us. Next slide, please. So we work with My Last Will. It's a digital portal. So we have established the need with the client in our own appointments, which we will show you how that works. And then the My Last Will portal, which is very people friendly. If they do need any other further advice on top of the will, we can, you know, refer that on to them. But yeah, it's quite a strong relationship we've got with them, and they will also help you out as well if you do need any further advice. Next slide.
Brilliant. And do you know what I would say on that as well? Throughout lockdown, we discovered that wills was a bit of a lifesaver for us, weren't it? Because many businesses out there were unlucky that, you know, shops closed, restaurants closed, pubs closed. Have you noticed I just went to pubs? I don't know how that happened. Just to try. But we were in a position where a lot of people were sat at home, twiddling their thumbs, wondering what was happening, wondering how dangerous this virus was, wondering when they were getting back to work. But for us, we stopped in our tracks, we got off our hamster wheel, and we thought, well, if we can't currently talk about mortgages like we did, because the estate agents had shut, or if our protection clients are currently, in need of other things and they've got other priorities, what could we look to introduce? So we introduced Fortune Wills and Estate Planning, which is our sidery company that works with Fortune Finance as an introducer. And we set up this introducer agreement with My Last Will, which, as Kayleigh's just said, there is a digital portal, but it's also real people. It's genuine people that are legal professionals that are there to approve the wills we write through their platform for the clients to make sure they've got a, you know, legally binding will. Now, why that was important during lockdown for me, and I'm sure you agree, Kayleigh, is that it got us speaking to people.
Yeah.
And people have always had a need throughout my career of arranging a will. I'd sit down with clients and I would really talk about the mortgage. I'd cater for the protection needs. I'd maybe add a little bit of home insurance in. And then at the end of the consultation, it would happen 1 in 10 clients. They'd bring up a will and they'd ask me about arranging a will. And we had a number of, you know, referral arms we could send to a solicitor or a will writer. And what happened was the will writer turned around and rang the clients and said, when do you want me to come and see you? And they said, how much is it going to cost me? and they went 250 quid to 500 quid to do your will. Depends whether you want an individual or a mirror will or joint will. And that's for a basic. If you need anything more, you know what I mean, power of attorneys or property trusts, you know, it could be thousands. But for now, let's have a consultation, get your wills done. And the clients would naturally say, okay, well, I was going to leave it 6 months. If you can ring me back in 6 months, which means we don't want to do it. Now, the reason they don't want to do it, I'm just going to stop this share for a minute, actually. The reason they don't want to do it is because they don't want to pay for it, or it's not the right time to pay for it. They've got other priorities. And I'm sure during COVID and I'm sure during current times, when energy bills are increasing, lifestyle is increasing, many people want to arrange a will, but don't want to pay for it. Now, this is the joy with my last will, and Kayleigh's going to come on to it in more detail, that we as a company cover the cost for the clients. So that will they've always wanted to arrange and get done. Firstly, they never got around to it, so we're going to make sure they do. We're going to be professional, as Kayleigh's talking about. But secondly, they don't need to pay for it out of their own pocket. We're going to cover that cost for them. And when somebody says, well, is that too good to be true? Well, no, it's not, because we're here to build our client bank. We're here to be professional, and we've got other services for you. Then we're here to do that. But at the moment, it's about getting your will done. And there's no obligation to come with us for anything else. But if we can do a good job, all we ask is that you refer us on to your friends and family, and it just builds our network, and especially locally. So, Kayleigh, how many wills did you do over the last 18 months, 24 months, would you say?
I think it was between about 250 and 300. Definitely the population of Stotfold for sure.
Yeah, that's very much true. Yeah, my hometown, which I'm proud to know, sir. You're spot on. So let's just put that into perspective. Let's say 2 years. Let's say 250 clients. That's a lot of clients. I'm not tripping up on maths today. That's a lot of clients. And what you're going to see today is how them clients create business off the back of business, create new people to speak to, people you want to get in front of. But without this platform and without this process that we're going to go into, you're probably going to struggle. You're going to try social media and it isn't going to work for 3-6 months. So what are you going to do in that time? And I'm not saying don't do social media. You know, I'm big on that, but you'll get dribs and drabs. This will fill your boots from next week, and you can have 20 clients by the end of the month if you want to, 50, 100 clients within a couple of months. So this process is really important. So let's go on to it.
Right. So let me just bear with me a second. So I just want to ask everyone actually, who on the call has got a will in place themselves? No. Oh, Lizzie. No, Lizzie. Why haven't you got a will, Rachel?
Don't know.
That is probably the most popular answer. I don't know. And there are two reasons why. Like Mark said, you know, they don't want to pay for it. It's 130 odd pound, which is a big sum of money to pay, you know, especially at the cost of living at the minute. And also they don't have time. I think for lockdown, that was really invaluable for us. People were at home, they were in lockdown. They couldn't go anywhere. So they sat down and it gave us that time to really spend time with the client and establish what they needed. So what is a will? Does anyone know?
It's out your wishes after your death. So where you want your assets to go, what you want, funeral, gifts.
Yeah, so it's a legal document that sets out instructions for who will inherit your estate and what should happen when you die. So as you can see on there, so a single will is £80, and that's for an individual, or it can be for partners, you know, who don't want a mirrored will. Or you've got a mirrored will, which is £130. Now that is usually for a married couple or a cohabiting couple. It's a quicker way to establish two individuals in the same household. And as Mark said, we will cover the cost for the client rather than saying it's free of charge. You know, we cover the cost because it is still a value that we are covering. So why do people need a will? So it speeds up the process of probate, as the will instructs who rightfully benefits from the estate, as we said. Without a will, this is completely taken out of your control. So, you know, anyone that's not a blood relative or like anyone that's a friend or charity, they won't have a look in really for your estate. If you've got a partner outside of marriage, they're not legally entitled to anything. This does also include your stepchildren, any foster children as well, because they are not blood relatives. If you have no living relatives at all alive, everything goes to the Crown or the Duchy of Cornwall. So, I mean, you've worked your whole life. Do you really want it to go to the government, to the Crown? No. You want it to go to your friends. You want it to go to a charity. Your dog. Who knows? So, also, a main important one, you want to make sure that your kids have a guardian. I think that's a main one. The assumption is usually that, you know, your parents are going to take on your children. Yes, that is the assumption. However, that's not always the case. It goes to care and then to establish who the rightful legal guardian is. So that speeds up the process in a really stressful time for the children. And it just, you know, it's that peace of mind that you know what's going to happen to your children.
Kayleigh, just to touch on that, Kayleigh, I think that for me is the absolute key element to arranging a will and for you to get in front of the style of clients that you want to be speaking to. Because you know, anyone with children, if you ask them what's the most important thing to them, their answer is the children. And
100%.
When you have children, your mindset totally changes. You understand the importance of certain things. You can never explain how much you love your kids when you have children, and you will do anything for them. So the thought of not being here and then not having the future you would have wanted, that's where the likes of life insurance, critical illness comes in. But also, as you just mentioned there, Kayleigh, it's so important to know that the right person is going to be looking after them. And there's many different scenarios that can happen with regards to your children and where your family are based in the country, the financial situation, and of course, who you'd want to actually bring them up and in a way you would have wanted them bringing up as well. So your market for protection is families. The majority of families, of course, they're going to be working people, self-employed, for income protection, etc. But families, for me, they're going to have the area of concern that they need to make sure that they're all right for the benefit of the children first over anything, and of course each other for the spouse as well. So anyone who has kids and they don't have a will, that's your in. That's your in every time to say, what do you mean you've not got a will? Do you realize that social services are going to take your children? And they'll say, what? No, the grandparents will take them. No, they might get to the grandparents, but they'll go to social services for maybe 5, 7, 10 days until they can actually legally prove who's the legal guardians of them children. Now, it could be a shorter period, but I know one thing, I don't want my kids going to social services for an hour. You know, they just lost the parents. That's the last thing you want. You want to make sure they're with the family. So as Kayleigh's saying, that it's so important to appoint guardians. And of course, that's an opportunity for you to move forward and do a proper job, as we always say. Yeah.
I think probably one of the things that I really learned during the will process was the financial side of things with the children, because in terms of assets, of course, yes, a will speeds up the process, but you know, it still happens. Your children are still needing that care straight away with their potential guardians, with their potential, you know, grandparents. And if, you know, you've got life insurance, for example, and it's not written into a trust, it's still going to take that time of probate to, you know, have that financial capability to, you know, maintain their lifestyle. And you don't want to be sitting on the other side of the kind of unsurety, if that's a word. You know, you want to know that your kids are okay. You want to know that you can provide everything that you could have provided if you were alive. And I think that's, and more, yeah, 100%. And yeah, so another reason, obviously, you want to set out your funeral wishes and you want to establish who settles your affairs. You know, your brother might be better at looking after your children. He might not be quite so good with looking after the money. You want to make sure that he's a guardian rather than an executor.
Absolutely. And do you know what? So many people, you know, want to donate to charity by means of 3 gifts. So many people want to make sure that if they've got 3, 4 children, that the children evenly get distributed their estate, or alternatively, that somebody's written out of the will. That could happen. Or making sure that maybe grandchildren get a small amount towards their education, for example, when they grow up, or maybe to get a car, whatever it is. So people understand the importance of a will. And coming back to what we said right from the start, people want a will. People need telling that you can do it for them. So social media is such a strong platform to do that. And we talked about using the likes of, you know, Canva, maybe promo for video. You know, get your phone out, make it real as well, and say, listen, we've been arranging wills throughout lockdown and beyond. And throughout, you know, Hertfordshire or over the UK, we've arranged hundreds of wills for clients. And we've got many happy clients that have had it done at no cost, and we've covered that cost to build our client bank. And now you can be the next. So get in touch. And again, that's an opportunity for you to then speak to people about your other services. Again, what we're going to come on to.
Yep, next slide. So this is the process of, well, this is the itinerary for tonight. So we're going to talk about confirmation of an appointment, how that works and what that looks like. What the client needs to do really before the appointment, just to make sure, you know, you've got control of that appointment and really make use of those opportunities. The cheat sheet, we came up with this last year. It really sets you up to go through the opportunities, some questions insurance wise. You've got the platform with My Last Will, and I'll show you what that looks like. So people friendly, so simple, and the clients love it as well. So yeah, we see what that looks like. How to establish the opportunities, whether that's pensions, mortgage renewal dates. Obviously I'll touch on that a lot more later. PJS, as we our little action sheet, I'll kind of talk through, you know, all the different opportunities again, and how to really take advantage of your executors, guardians and trustees by making sure you've got the next client with those.
And if anyone could say what PJS stands for before we tell you, write it in the chat and you win a Lion Bar. So yeah, that's the process. Thanks, Kayleigh. And you know, confirmation of appointment. Let's go straight into that. And you know, digital link. Fire away, Kayleigh.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
What's that? Sorry.
No, fire away.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So yeah, so tell us about the confirmation email and why we do that then, Kayleigh. Can you hear us?
Hang on a second. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, you've always been there.
Sorry about that, guys. About right, okay, so yeah, this is what the appointment email looks like. So yeah, usually be on the phone to the client, obviously confirm a date. The most important thing is to stress that preparation form needs completing before the appointment, mainly for yourself, so you can set yourself up to ask the questions, so you can bring out those opportunities. If it isn't completed, you can do it without the preparation form, but really it takes that control away from you. You know, it really allows you to make a bespoke appointment for them, which I think is key. You know, it's all about the client and you want to make the most for them as it is for you. And the will is so important for them. So yeah, that gets into the client, and then the preparation form will hopefully be completed before the appointment.
What the email really does for you as well, if you agree, Kayleigh, is it professionally introduces you, the company. Obviously, it gives them a confirmation time and date, as well as Kayleigh's just mentioned there. And, you know, when someone's arranging a will, they want to make sure they're arranging it with a professional company. They want to make sure that, you know, they're established, they can see the website. And of course, they know who you are and how to contact you as well. So it starts the process in a great way. But as Kayleigh's mentioning there, the will preparation form, when they click this link here, just like your interim referral links, it'll take them through to a form. And the form looks like this. So they see this on the iPhones, their Androids, you can do it on a tablet, you can do it through a laptop. Of course, it's going to take them 10 minutes, it says the form, and it is. But what it does, it explains firstly what we do for them and why we do it in this way. Now, it asks for the information of the client and what they're looking to do. So Kayleigh, do you want to run through the form and I'll slowly move it through?
Yeah, so I won't obviously go through every single kind of bit, but I'll kind of go what's important for us. So of course, you know, their basic information, their name, the type of will they want, set you up whether they've got a family, dependents. Scroll, yeah. So the smoker status and the occupation, that's more for us. It's kind of that we can kind of look at the recommendations beforehand. Partner details, dependents, obviously with that sort of thing, you know, if you've got children, like you say, you want to highlight the importance of protecting your family. Children's critical illness cover is a massive one, and probably, you know, one of the least sort of knowledgeable for parents to protect their children as well. And then pets, you want to make sure that your pets are covered. You know, they're not going to go to a shelter. It's quite a nice little icebreaker, really. I mean, I love dogs. I love hamsters. I've got my Marvin. You know, it's just making sure that, you know, that they're okay and they get forgotten about, bless them.
They do get forgotten about, don't they? It's so true.
Yeah.
Because everyone.
And I think.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I think as well, like, yeah, like you say, they are forgotten about, and you know, just because you love your dog doesn't mean your brother wants to take your dog in. You know, it's time that he doesn't want to put in because he hasn't got a dog, you know. So yeah, no, think about your pets. So assets, this is a big one. Obviously, this is all about sort of your estate. So it's good for us to know sort of how much it calculates. Don't worry too much about this because you're not a tax advisor. So, you know, don't worry too much about the value, because at the end of the day, values change, policies change. We just need to make sure that it's protected with your life insurance.
Yeah, and the good point on that, Kayleigh, would be with a will, a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm moving house next year, so I won't do a will yet because I want to write my new house into the will. Or I might change my car next week, so I won't do my will yet because I want that car to be written in. But a will doesn't work that way. A will works on a value of your estate and a percentage of that being distributed. So whether that's 100% to your spouse or your next door neighbor or whatever you want it to go, or 50% to one child, 50% to the other, it's about a percentage of the estate when you pass away. So as Kayleigh just mentioned there, that assets and finding out what somebody has and what they're about is all for us. It's all an ability for us to say, we know about you, Mr. Client, and now we can ensure we're doing a proper job for you. So it really just paint a picture of what your clients are about. And obviously, courseware opportunities for you, but also for you to be able to help your customer in areas where you can help them, which is, of course, what this evening we're all about.
So then, of course, the all-important, do you have life insurance? Obviously, for us, you know, we really care about that question. The value, obviously, we do want to know how much it is, but then when it comes to the appointment, why have they got it? Why have they not got it? What have they ever thought about it? And the cheat sheet will come on to that in a minute. This is my favourite question. Would you be happy with 40% of your life cover going to HMRC by means of inheritance tax? If someone says yes, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, why would you want it to go to the tax man? You want it to go to someone that you care about. So hopefully they'll always put no, but you never know. And then, of course, you've got your trust. So there it is. Our standard fee is £349. We can offer a no-cost trust at the time of your will arrangement. This just highlights the fact it needs doing now while you're sorting out, while you're having those uncomfortable conversations. Get it done. We'll make sure that everything is done while we do your policy and your will. Then, of course, your liabilities. Probably one of the most important things to protect. Mortgage, That's how you get your renewal dates, you know, your buy to let renewal dates, anything like that. Executors go through the roles. Typically, you know, sometimes it doesn't, these don't always get filled out in time before the preparation, but it gets them thinking about, you know, who they want as those roles.
And it also, you know, it explains what an executor is briefly to a customer. So they can actually really consider who's the right person for that role and have an understanding of who they're picking for what. So if you was to do that on the appointment, as you know, Kayleigh, they're going to, you know, take a step back and go, well, I don't know. We've not really considered that. I never realized we need to do that. So this sheet again is giving them the ability to take their own time, whether it's, you know, after Emmerdale Farm or with a glass of wine in their hand or whatever it is. Do it in the gym if they want, on the treadmill. It's something that they can do in their own time prior to their appointment with you. And of course, when you get it through, you've then got the ability to prepare for the appointment as well. So that you kind of come together both on the you know, the same level, ready to get that will written professionally for them.
I think as well, it kind of comes back to that education for the client, because I mean, I know what I'm like. If someone says, oh, do you know what this means? And I've just been put on the spot, you're going to say yes and just kind of rush through it because you don't know. Whereas if you see this beforehand, if you've got questions, you'll have written them down, and it allows us to answer those questions for them and really understand what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? While we're talking about this, and we're talking about kind of getting it right, I suppose is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes less is more, and you need to remember that with advice. To have 50 clients in a month might sound amazing, but what you'll probably do is do 10 of them okay, and you'll drop another 20, and 20 of them will go elsewhere and mess you about, and then you don't get back to some of them. So if you just deal with 5-10 clients over a month, but we always come back to it, do a proper job, slow the process right down, then you'll find that they'll really value your time, and they'll want to cater for the areas that you want to cater for them. And, you know, making sure that you're covering as many angles as possible and you're getting as much out of them clients as for your benefit, as much as for their benefit in helping them. It just makes sure that, you know, come the end of the week and the month and the year, you look back at what you've done and you've done a professional job for your clients. Your client bank's then a solid client bank. You know, you're not a salesperson, as we keep saying. It's not sell, make some money. That doesn't work. You've got to look after your clients. You've got to, you know, build a relationship with them and make sure you're doing the job right for them. So make sure you understand it as much as anything. You're kind of getting at as well.
I think it kind of goes on with the like proper job sheet that we're going to obviously talk about later. There's no sort of better feeling than be able to tick off all of the you know, opportunities that we could have provided for a client, because, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get, and they don't know that they should need it either, which I think is most important.
Absolutely. So true. So, you know, we've got the executors, as you mentioned. Tell us a little bit about that. What's this referring to, Kayleigh?
So a secondary executor or a backup executor is, so for example, if you've got a married couple, typically you're going to appoint each other to be your executors. One of you or both of you, depending on, you know, order of events, you're going to need a backup for that surviving partner or for both of you. You know, everyone passes away before someone. So, you know, it's just making sure you've put that preparation in place and that probate and goes smoothly. Obviously, if you haven't got a will in place and you haven't got a role in place, it's dying with intestacy. So it's trying to prevent that at all times.
Absolutely.
So then going on to guardians, obviously this is kind of highlighting what we were talking about before. You know, if you don't appoint a guardian, then, you know, it goes to social services to decide who's legally eligible to look after your children, which, as Mark said, you know, that's not something that you would ever want to dream of for your children. So you've got your first and your second, again, just to make sure there's always someone there. Trustees, So obviously you decide what age that you would want your children to inherit should anything happen to you, God forbid, before the age of 18. You've got 18, 21 or 25. It's a shared role because obviously it is so important that they decide together what's going to happen for your children. And then as you've got here, this is probably the most important part for you, because your executors, guardians and trustees, they are your next clients. So, you've just done a will and you've looked after that client, and hopefully they've talked their ear off about you because you've done such a great job. But give them all a call, obviously get the consent from the client, and speak about the role, how important it is, and then of course that we will cover their cost as well. And who doesn't want a cost of a will covered for them? 2 out of 3 they do.
Absolutely. And one thing we didn't say there is, once you have done the will and you have dealt with your client, and as Kayleigh just mentioned there, you may have generated an executor, an additional executor, a secondary or backup, a guardian, a backup or secondary guardian, a trustee, a backup trustee or a secondary trustee. Think of all these people now you can give a quick call to. But that's a problem. You don't want to give them a quick call. You need to slow the process down. So you need to ring them up and you need to book in a professional appointment to discuss the role they've been appointed for. Now, that's so important, because if you ring up a guardian who you want to speak to about their will, their trusts, their life insurance, their mortgage that we're going to come on to, and you haven't done that within a 10-second period, they're going to switch off and think, brilliant, thanks, yeah, I'm quite happy to do the role, and they're gone. So you need to say to them, I've been to see your friend or your family member, your brother, your sister, whoever it may be. They've appointed you to be a guardian, which is an honourable role to be picked for. And I need to book in an appointment with you, which is probably about 15 to 20 minutes long, to just discuss the role and discuss what we've done for them. So I'm just wondering when will be best for you. Now, I've got Tuesday morning, or I've got Thursday afternoon, or actually I've got a 10 o'clock on Friday. Now, your diary is never empty. You're busy. So don't say, well, when do you want it? I'm free. Because that does not portray you as a good advisor. So once you've booked in your executor and your guardian and your trustee, you've got this 15, 20-minute consultation. What you do on that consultation is you go back over the appointment that you've done for the brother, the sister, the best friend, and why you've done it. So what you've done for them is you've done a will at your cost. It didn't cost them anything. You've done a professional job in ensuring that they've appointed them as a guardian. So we'll explain that role. We'll cover that area. Now, don't finish that off too quick because you want to continue talking. Now, the reason we've done this is because we've established there's also a need for a trust on their life insurance. Do you know what a trust is, Mr. Guardian? No, I don't know what you mean. Okay, well, I'll tell you what that is. A trust is this, 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 and this. And what they're going to say, they're going to say, I haven't got a trust. And you're going to go, well, listen, don't worry about you. We'll get to you. But today it's all about Mr. Client. Okay, so he's appointed you as a guardian. Now, we've also looked at his mortgage because we're a mortgage intermediary as well. We've got access to exclusive rates, many different products. And we're also looking at his critical illness cover and income protection because it's something I'm really passionate about. I've got many clients that arrange that for. Oh, can you do that for me? Yeah, don't worry. We'll get to you, Mr. Guardian. Today's all about Mr. Client. Okay, so leave them wanting. You don't need to ask them, oh, do you want one? You don't need to do that. Leave them wanting. Now, if it gets to the end of the consultation, don't say to him, do you want a will? Say to him, good news for you is you qualified for a will paid for on behalf of Fortune Financial as well. So let's get you booked in now. I've got Tuesday morning, I've got Thursday afternoon, I've got Friday morning. When's best for you? Well, actually, I've actually got a Saturday as well because I've had a cancellation. They're usually really booked up in weeks in advance, but I can fit you in there if that's better. Now, they've got a choice of when they want to see you now, not whether they want to see you or not see you. And what you'll find is everybody wants what their friends had. So, of course, they're going to want your help. Of course, it's not going to cost them anything. They're going to take you up on that service. So it's an absolute no-brainer. So sorry, I thought I'd add that in there, Kayleigh.
No, for sure. I think as well, doing the will process for me, I've had really good experiences with executors because you've looked after their brother, their sister, they know that you're doing a good job, and they trust you. even more. It's the best appointments to have, and the best quality clients, especially for life insurance, critical illness cover, income protection for sure. So going on to the cheat sheet. So this is something we came up with, I think it was last June, was it? I think. Anyway, that really is, it sets us up for the appointment, it gives us structure, it makes it professional, which is what we're all about. Obviously, you know, we're not serious people, but we are when it comes to business. So the cheat sheet's really about structuring it for us. So this is what it looks like, and all it is just a few questions and kind of some points to go through. So of course, you know, hi Mark, it's Kayleigh at Fortune Financial. How are you today?
I'm good, Kayleigh, thank you. Don't worry, I'm good.
Establish, you know, it's a single or mirrored will. Do you understand what that is? Establish, you know, what is a single will, a mirrored will, and what it is that we're looking to do for you. And then going down to who we are as a business. So, you know, we don't just do your will, we look at your mortgage, we look at your insurance. You know, we specialize in making sure that your insurance is written into a trust. Already, you're establishing that you're a specialist. You're not just there to do their will. And if they've got any needs, you're highlighting that you can help them. And I think that is so important to do it straight from the beginning. You're planting that seed. And then obviously, thank you for completing the preparation form. Always great to show some gratitude. You know, at the end of the day, that's helped you set up for the appointment. So, yeah. And then, of course, there's no cost involved for the will. We're covering the cost for you. It already takes that kind of question out of their mind, that uncertainty. Because I think as soon as you say that, the shoulders drop. And suddenly, you know, oh, okay, that's fine. You don't want anything from me, sort of thing. And they start to trust you a little bit more. Referrals, you know, if you've got any family members, they can qualify for a free will as well, because we've done it through you. So it gives them that little bit of power that, you know, they can help their family out as well. And it helps you out as well. Talking about the process, so, you know, as we said, you know, it is a digital portal, which you guys will see later, and you'll see how people friendly it is. We complete 90% of the portal, and we really go through, you know, to understand what it is that they're going to do, what we're doing, any costs involved. Our legal team, which is My Last Will, you know, if you've got any questions, if anyone asks you a question that's legally related, always go to My Last Will. Don't answer any questions that you're not sure of, because you're not qualified as a legal sort of representative.
No, a good answer for that, Kayleigh, I don't know if you agree, is if someone asks you a question you don't know the answer to, there's no harm in saying, do you know what, that's a really good question. And there's potentially a couple of options and answers for that. And which one's best for you, I'm not too sure. So let me speak to the legal team, and I'll come back to you with the definitive answer of what's best for you.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to kind of try and wing a question, but at the end of the day, you're there to answer their questions rather than, you know, leave them with still uncertainty, I think. So you've got the additional cost there. As you can see, you've got £30 per change if you don't store your will, or if you did want to store your will, it is £14 a year. You get 2 copies, one that's printed and sent to you, and one that's put into storage, which is an underground bunker, which is really, really cool. And I love saying that to the client, they love it. You know, it's basically just to make sure, you know, someone can't tamper with your will, because if you don't have a will and you can't find the will, you don't have a will. So it's important for them to really make use of that if they want to. Does that sound okay? Establish, you know, it's all good. They understand what you've gone through with them, if you've got any questions. And then you would go through the preparation form, which obviously we went through prior. So yeah, this is your assets and liabilities. As I say, obviously on the preparation form, sometimes people don't fill it in, which is great. But you know, it slows the process down. Have you got a house? If you've got a house, you know, they've got a mortgage, renewal date. This is really where your opportunities come in. House contents. Do you have any buildings and contents insurance? Okay, great. Well, Kelly can give you a call to look at your renewal date when it comes up. You know, life insurance. I'm a specialist. That is something that I actually really care about, and that's the thing that I would, you know, I want to have a look at for you. Booking a follow-up appointment with them. Pensions. This one they always have a little question mark on. No one really ever knows what they've got in their pension. We've got quite a few different introducers that we can refer out for that. And introducers are brilliant for, you know, referring business out to, because if you feed them, they feed you. And it's just a really healthy cycle to keep kind of going. And then, of course, you've got your liabilities, as I say, your mortgage renewal dates, credit cards and bank loans, again, insurance worth. That's what you want to protect, so that your family don't have to do it for you, and don't have the money for, you know, if you were to pass away. So then going down, you've got questions here just to help you out. So obviously, as you are kind of starting off, you've got some questions to ask them, just to kind of get them talking and thinking about, if you haven't got life insurance, why haven't they? You know, how would you pay your mortgage off if you died? Would your guardians be happy if you know, you left them with no financial stability? Because at the end of the day, they've taken your children on. They didn't expect to actually have to cover the cost. And I think that's a massive one, really, that I've really found. You know, people always think, I've got savings, so that'll be fine. But actually, you need to appoint a financial kind of peace of mind there for you and your children. And then it's really about closing the appointment. So this can sometimes take 1 to 2 appointments. It really depends on, you know, if you've got the answers there. And then see, if you are going to review their protection, we do always kind of go for the portal after that, because if you're at the end of the day, your protection is your assets as well. And it does also ask you on the portal if your protection is written in trust. So if it's not written in trust and it's something that you're going to review, you need to review it before you actually finalize their will. And then, yeah, do you have any further questions? Establish a time for your follow-up. And then it really is about, you know, making sure that you're booked in for the protection review if that is going to happen. See, if they want to review it later, there's no point when you can look at it now. Obviously, you're in the best health that you're ever going to be to this date. And, you know, your circumstances are as they are now, and we want to protect that as it is.
Brilliant. So you'll be able to see there with that how there's a flaw to what essentially is a script. And I'm not big on scripts because it makes you robotic with clients. So everyone will get access to all the documentation, the portals this evening that we're going to show you as the next step. And what I would encourage you to do is to, you know, spend a bit of time in making it your own, in practicing it. Practice it with your dog, with your cat, with your partner. It doesn't matter, but make it your own. And again, the more you do it, the more you'll become confident with it. But the biggest thing for me, though, what Kayleigh's just said is that as you're running through the assets and liabilities section, it's creating opportunities all the time. It's saying to you, they've got a house and they've got a mortgage. Look after the mortgage for them. 7 out of 10 people have got life insurance. I'll guarantee you 7 out of 10 people it isn't written in trust. Now, if you've got a pen in your hand and they say it's not written in trust, sorry, there's a pen in my hand there, you can't see it for the background. If you've got a pen in your hand and someone says it's not written in trust, throw it down and go, what? It's not written in trust. Who did that for you? Oh, I did it myself through Money Supermarket. Right, listen, stop. Let's park this will for a minute, because we can't tie your will up when your estate's a mess. We need to address it first and make sure it's right before you wrap a will around it. So who's your life insurance with? Legal and general will be the answer. Okay, brilliant. No problem at all. Well, why is it with legal and general? They were cheap. All right. Is that what you like, cheap, when it comes to security? Well, what do you mean? Well, if you're going to jump out of an aeroplane, would you want a cheap parachute? No, you
I
don't.
love that one.
You want to go rock climbing? Do you want a cheap piece of rope? Or do you want a nice, strong quality one? You know what I mean? So for me, it's a matter of stopping within the will process there and saying to them, I'm not the kind of person that writes a will for someone. And then when it comes to actually the will being used and, being processed and helping that probate situation, that there's all these different complications and it's just a mess. So let's make sure that we make sure you are prepared to write a will. And at the moment, you just said your policy is not written in trust. So that is a biggie. Now, I just want to spend 2 minutes talking about trusts, because tonight is a wills and trust session. And we've not put any slides on the trusts. And I talked about trust to probably pretty much everyone who's joining the business and who's been with the business for years, because we're really passionate about doing a proper job for clients and making sure as a professional, you've done your job right. And if you write life insurance for a client and you don't write your policy in trust, you're as bad as that opera singer and that naughty dog. I'm telling you, you are, because you're a professional. Do it right. So what are the 3 reasons why we write a policy into trust? Shannon, are you there?
Hello.
Shannon, give us one
Can
of
you
them,
hear me?
please. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Give us
Good,
one
good.
reason why we write a policy into trust, please.
One reason is probably one of the biggest reasons is to protect that insurance, that cover from inheritance tax, because without it being written in trust and without there being beneficiaries allocated to that, then it will form part of your estate, and that could be what takes your estate over the threshold of 325,000 to then obviously be 40% taxed. So
say that again. How much tax did you say?
40%.
No, that's what a
tax.
client will say to you. A client will go, sorry, how much? 40%. Now put that into a monetary perspective and say, so every £100,000 worth of life cover you've got, 40,000 is going to the tax man and 60,000 is going to your kids. Are you happy with that? Sorry, say that again? Yeah, 40,000 is going to the tax man, 60,000 to the kids. So we need to wrap a bubble around that. That's the trust. Well, what's that going to cost me? Well, it should be £349, but because I'm doing your will, I'm going to do it for, at no cost, because I'm doing my job right. Wow, get that done for me. Okay, so what is it we're writing into trust? Okay, it's my legal and general policy. Okay, what are you paying for that at the moment? I'm paying this amount. Okay, lovely. When did you set that up? 10 years ago. Okay, wait a minute. Is that still doing the right job for you? I don't even know. I don't even know where the documents are. Okay, listen, I think what we should do is we should review your circumstance, make sure your protection is tailored to you, write it into trust, wrap that bubble around it, and then wrap the will around it to, be that barbed wire fence. So you've done every single job you can for you and your family. Do you agree? Yeah, I agree. Okay, lovely. So get them to agree, because when they agree, you can always go down the line. Don't matter if it's 2, 3, 4 days and go, well, yeah, you said you agreed with that. Is that correct? Yeah, I do agree with that. But of course, stopping within that will process is the key, because if you write the will and then you get beyond the will being done, and then you ring your clients up and go, remember that conversation we had about your life insurance? Should we jump onto that next then? They'll go, oh, do you know what? Coronation Street's coming on next. How about tomorrow evening at 6? And you ring them at 6 tomorrow evening and they don't answer. And the reason they don't answer is because, they've had the will, they've spoke to you 3 times before, and they have got a bit of life insurance. And as much as it's not written in trust, it's still 60% of the kids. It's done, it's gone. Your opportunity's gone. You've got to do it right there and then. Time kills, absolutely kills. So do it right. Help people. We said that with the saying, stop selling, start helping. Do you mean? We're not selling anything, we're helping them make sure in the process is done correctly. So let's just chuck back up the cheat sheet. Where's it gone? Here we go. So of course we're ending it with a follow-up appointment. Why are we doing that, Kayleigh?
Well, for 2 reasons. Obviously, if we're going on for a protection appointment, we need to get that date booked in, because if you don't get a date and you don't get a time, you've lost them. And I know that probably better than anyone. You can be 6 months down the line still chasing them and calling them. You're stressing the importance of it. It's kind of like what you're saying with trust. If you've highlighted there is a flaw in their insurance and it hasn't got a trust, you do the life insurance and you review it, you put critical illness cover on it, and you don't do the trust, they're going to think 6 months down the line, actually that's why they actually wanted to look at my insurance, and now they haven't even done it. So someone else will, and you'll lose that business. To get that follow-up date and time booked in, stress the importance and make sure it's sooner rather than in a week's time when they've already forgotten what you've already said.
Absolutely. Great point. So we talked about writing the trust, and I know Shannon came up with probably the main one and the most, I suppose we don't like to disturb clients, but we need to talk, talk real to them. And inheritance tax is the big one, 40% losing that. But there's a couple of other reasons why you'll write a trust as well. So I'm just going to pick on someone else if you don't mind. Megha, are you there? I think you might be muted.
Sorry, if you come back
Hi,
again.
good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to hear. So yeah, Shannon's just mentioned with the trust that I suppose we call it mitigates your liability for inheritance tax, which means it should wipe out any inheritance tax on the plan. There are certain circumstances where inheritance tax can still come in. Let's say the policies are £1 million plus, etc. So we don't ever guarantee, because we're not tax advisors, that the inheritance tax wouldn't happen with a trust, but it definitely will look to prevent it. Do you know if there's any of the other reasons why we would write a trust for a client?
Everything is okay, but it's we have to keep it here.
One reason, not in a particular, but yeah, to protect them, only one thing.
Yeah, that's fine. No, thank you for that. So I suppose the next one that I've come to mind there, Megha, is, I know you're saying protect them, it's protecting them from delays. I mean, we're talking about right money, no tax, no inheritance tax, right time. So it's protecting them from them delays. So you're saying protect, we'll use that one as probate. Now, Kayleigh mentioned that earlier. When somebody passes away, their estate is scooped up and put into probate. Now, it can be a matter of days, weeks, months, years until probate is granted and the estate is released. Now, if your life insurance is tangled up within that confusion, of course, the ability for the children to benefit from the life insurance, whether that's the guardians, the trustees benefiting from that for the children, or either it may be the spouse or the partner that needs to benefit from it, there's a chance that they may not be able to get their hands on that. So what the trust will do, it will prevent any probate delays, and it takes it away from the estate and enables you to appoint a trustee, whether that be a good friend, a sister, a godparent of the children, or a number of trustees, so that you can have some guarantees that that money will prevent probate and move into the right person. So Emma, are you there? No, Emma, you're not very well, are you?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
No, but I'm here. I am here.
I'm going to pick on you for 1 second then. So we've talked about inheritance tax, the right amount of money. We've talked about no probate delays, paying at the right time. What's the missing piece of the puzzle?
Oh, do you know what? You're just thinking that, because I was going to say the speed of it. I'm just trying to think now. Not really thinking right at the minute. Oh God!
I give you a clue. Something to do with a beneficiary, making sure it gets
the beneficiary. Yes, so
in the right something, Emma.
Sorry.
Look at the screen in the right.
That's hands.
You can write it in trust.
No. Getting it in the right hands.
Right, getting it in the right hands. No, that's what I was going to say.
Yes, I bet he was.
No. I was thinking, but I didn't know whether that crossed it. Like, if you've got your beneficiaries there, it's a lot quicker and easier. There's not, to get the monies to the right people to distribute it.
Absolutely. So yeah, you can nominate beneficiaries.
Probate.
Yeah, nominate beneficiaries through your trustees. And the thing to remember with this as well is, if you was to get a trust documentation as the client and write, I want the money to go to Timmy and Lily, my children, and then you put it into trust and you appoint trustees, the fact you've wrote in the beneficiaries does not mean that money's going there at all. Because when you write a policy into trust, you pass legal ownership over to the trustees. So you do not have the legal ability to say where the money goes. So it's an honourable role to be picked for a trustee, because they carry out your wishes if they choose to, which is crazy. If they choose to, no, I'm going to give it to a cat charity, or actually I'm going to go on holiday with it, there's probably not a lot that could be done. Now, don't get me wrong, it might unravel over time if someone decides to pick it up, but it is an honourable role to be picked for. And that's because there is two types of ownership. There's legal ownership and there's beneficial ownership. So beneficial ownership is the beneficiaries. Who's the ones who've got the ability to benefit from that money and use it and spend it. But legal ownership is the ability to invest it for children, manage the monies, claim on the monies, and ensure it gets to them people. And that's what the trustees do within the trust. So another opportunity with trustees is, of course, to book your appointment with the trustees, explain why they've been chosen as trustees, what the role of a trustee is, why you've done it for the friends, with their will, etc., and relay the appointment. So do that professional appointment again. And of course, what they're going to say, I haven't got a trust. Never heard of a trust before. So it's so easy when you actually adhere to this process. It comes as second nature of anything. It's one that if you don't do it, you for sure missing a trick. So Kayleigh, back to you. And we're not going to go through the My Last Will system as such today, are we, Kayleigh? We're going to just touch on it. And of course, we're going to do some training with anyone who wants to use it beyond today.
Yeah,
Can I just ask a really quick question?
Yeah.
By the way.
Oh, sorry. What you were just saying about guardians, if you've got more than one, then, sorry, for the trustees of the money, if you've got more than one, do they both have to agree on any spending?
Correct.
Regardless of how
yeah.
much, even if it's a £5, whatever, up to thousands.
Yeah, it's a shared role. So they have to agree what's going to happen to the benefit of the children or beneficiaries. Okay,
cool. Thank you.
Lizzie, what would you say that tells you? The fact that they've got to agree?
It's I suppose it's protecting that one person isn't going to take advantage, but also potentially need a third person to maybe mediate if they don't agree. Yeah, so what you're getting at there is, if you appoint one trustee, will they carry out your wishes? Hopefully. You don't like living in hope, nobody does. If you appoint two trustees and they disagree, then the plan for it not to be delayed then becomes a delay. So that could be a problem. So with every trust that you write, you should say to your clients, I need 3 trustees minimum from you. And they're going to say, well, why do you need 3? For that reason. 1 will do this, 2 will do that, but 3 gives the overriding decision that, whoa, wait a minute. Lizzie said she wanted this to happen. Kayleigh said she wanted this to happen. And 2 of them, of course, are going to override the other one and make sure that your wishes are carried out. But then again, for you to get in front of more people, if you ask for 1 trustee, how many people have you got to speak to? 1. If you ask for 3 trustees, how many people have you got to speak to? 3. And if you turn around to a client and say, you can have between 1 and 4 trustees, have you got any trustees? How many are they going to give you? They're going to give you 1, possibly 2. If you ask for 3 and say you need 3, you'll get 3. Back to you, Kayleigh.
Yeah, so we'll show you the portal, just like what the broker side of it looks like and what you'll see once you've done the review, got all the information, and then you're going to do the handover process, which is on My Last Will. So can I please can I share?
You can now. Just give you granted permission. Okay. I do want to say as well, while you're doing that, if anyone's wondering how long a cheat sheet takes to do with a client, it's the exact length of eating a Lion bar. Because I muted myself and turned my video off.
Hang on a second. Can you guys see the screen?
I need to stop my show, don't I?
No.
There you go. I should be able to.
Yes, can now.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so this is the My Last Will portal. As you can see, see, it's quite simplified. We do about 90% of the portal. We do all the sort of general factual stuff. So, you know, names, date of birth, who the executors are, contact details, asset values. We don't tend to do who you're going to gift and distribute your assets to. That's quite personal. So if you write that in wrong, that's on you, not the client. So that's kind of where we kind of take a step back and we, you know, we put that over to them. And funeral preferences as well. I mean, do you really want to like mess up someone's funeral plans? No, I don't. But it's a good idea if you're going to do your own will during this process, to actually go through each stage, so that you know what the process is, the questions it asks, and really be able to help them all, the clients, if they've got any questions. So this is what it looks like. So as you see, please complete the remaining 7 sections. I'd say it probably takes about 20 minutes for a client to do it, if you've talked through all of the points. So see, go on here. Someone want to help me out and give me a name? Okay, I'll put Nikki down. Peter Pan. Peter Pan. Okay, and then date of birth, you know, 6 April 1995. There we go. Right. Okay. And you're just going to go through the process. And as I say, it's all people friendly. So it's literally just clicking a box. So Peter Pan is actually female, no judging. This person does have children. So yes. And if they are expecting, you can actually say yes as well. And it does mean that, you know, it will just go through as any future children, any guardians, they'll be appointed as well, which is really good and really handy. That's sort of progress since we started doing this. Do you have any pets? Yes. What's your address? Let's just put this place in. So I will be way. There we go. And if I'm in the process of moving home, you can do that as well. So you know, for those people that are moving house at the moment, you can just click that, and it just comes up with saying you do not need to update the address. Are you domiciled in England? Sorry, I can't speak. That just means, you know, are you able to live in the UK? You know, basically like a citizenship. So it is typically yes. If you have to put no, then the will isn't for them and it's not suitable for them. And that's, you know, if they've come from another country and they've not got citizenship, usually. Marital status, they're married. So for this person, you know, Wendy, what was her name? I don't even know her last name. There we go, whatever. And male, so this is a mirrored will, so it's for myself and my partner. So we're going to cover the cost of a mirrored will, which is £130. You put in their phone number and email address and they'll receive a text. So then, you know, what are the name of your children? So we've got Lucy, Lawo, and hang on a second. Sorry, just having a few technical problems. Oh, date of birth, there we go. Right, so born last year, go save. And that, you know, they've only got one child. So moving on to here, you know, put the children in, and then as you put the children in and they are under 18, it will immediately have executors, trustees, and your guardians. So you've got your executors down. So it's got professional executors, friends or family, and friends and family only. Typically, it's going to be friends and family only. I don't think I've even gone on to these two ever. So next, do you want Wendy to be your main executor, it is usually yes, but in some cases it is no, and in which case you would have to put a backup executor. Would you like to name your secondary? So this is in the event that Wendy was to pass away before you, you're going to appoint an executor. So a sister, she's going to be your executor, and then in the event that something might happen to her first, you're going to appoint a backup, which is going to be your friend Maggie. And if it's a friend, you've got to put their mobile number in. So with
Process is so slick, isn't it? The system.
it's just so people friendly, and you know, it explains everything to you, gives you all the definitions you need. So yeah, obviously it will really highlight what you've told the client.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just to confirm to everyone as well, I mean, all this information Kayleigh's putting in here, of course you're making this one up, but when you're doing it for a customer, you're just copying it out of the prep form.
Yeah.
It's that simple. There's nothing else you're doing. You're just data inputting it into here so you can hand it over to the client and they can complete the distribution section in a gifts and funeral. It's that simple. So you can take as long as you need to take. There's no pressure to complete this will in front of the client and feel under pressure. Am I getting it right? Am I something? You can go back, you can check, you can make sure it's right, you can make changes before you submit it. So you can see it here with yourself how you're doing it, Kayleigh. It's so simple. And of course, I know you've used the system for a long time, but it's, you know what I mean? It's brilliant, fantastic system to use.
So yeah, we've put on the roles here. So as I say, you know, we've gone for the same. You know, Caroline and Maggie they're not only great with the money, they're also good with the kids. So we put them as trustees and the guardians as well. As I said, we don't do distribution, we don't do gifts or the funeral or the pets. Assets and liabilities. So this one is crucial for if you do need to review their protection. You just tick again, really people friendly, current property, household contents, life insurance, shares, business. And all you're going to do is just input the values. So
and again, if you remember, we did this on the cheat sheet. That's why we broke down from the initial prep form where a client will give you, I don't know, I've got an estate worth 1.2 million. When it comes to that cheat sheet and you break down, okay, 1.2 million, what's that made up of? Well, it's my home, my residential home. It's made up of my savings and whatever else it may be, including the life insurance.
So then, as obviously your assets and liabilities, they're not always just owned by the one person. Even if it's not a mirrored will, so you just need to stipulate that on there, which you would have found out from the preparation form and the appointment. So it will just say, you know, just because it is a joint, it's only your own share of that asset that, you know, you can distribute. So all of these are joint. Who will be living at your property? Just put that in there. Do you own assets outside of the UK? Now, if that is the case, they're still going to need a will in that country. So if they do say that they've got assets, don't worry about that one too much, because you do need to say, you know, they do need a will in that country as well, because it is the laws of that place. So their asset is in Belgium. So type of business. This is important to kind of know to ask if they have got businesses. So they're a limited company. Who owns the shares in your business? So this is their partner as well. Do you hold assets in any other names? So that could be if it's a female and they're married. What have you got any assets that has your maiden name on there? If you do, yes, and just need to put, you know, put that in there so that it can be considered as well. And then this is our most important sort of page. Are any of your insurance policies held in trust? So you've reviewed the policy, you've written it in trust. So yes, and that just says that when it comes to probate, that it's not going to be taken as your estate. It's going to be processed separately.
Can I just jump in there, Kayleigh, and say that's a key part to this process. So if you was to complete the will and you've not yet done that review of the protection and written that trust, within the will, you have to put no. So then you submit the will, they've arranged the will, and it says that they don't have life insurance. They do have life insurance and it's not written in trust. So whatever you do beyond that, they then have to start amending the will again. So don't give them the will incorrectly written to then look at the life insurance. As we've said previously, stop within the process and ensure that the estate and the life insurance, whatever it may be, is set up correctly so that once you finalize the will arrangements, it all ties in nicely.
Yeah, I think that kind of is key with the will process. This is a benefit for the client, and then everything else is kind of your advice and you're doing right by them. And this will is kind of an offer for them to just make sure you're doing everything correctly, you're slowing the process down, and you're doing a proper job. So then, yeah, you click hand over account, and then it's simply putting in an email address for yourself so you get any notifications, and then putting in their mobile number and email. They'll receive that through email address and text, and it's handed over to them. And that's my last will for you guys. You're muted.
Do you know, when you said I'm muted then, I said, oh yes, I am. Muted. But we just talked about how user-friendly it is. You know, you can do it on your mobile phone. You can do it on a tablet, can't you? Obviously on a desktop or laptop. So clients have got variety of how they can go on and finalize the wishes, whether it's the distribution, the gifts we talked about, the funeral side of things. And, they get their own logins to go in once that handover has been given to just finalize and make sure that the will set up as needs be. So, it's a legally binding will, isn't it? That's correct.
It is, yeah. I think people can't really believe that it is a valid will because it's so slick and people friendly. But yeah, sign it, witness it. It's all legally binding. You've got expert support checking it over, give you the okay to get it printed. It's quick and it's easy, and it really it's an overwhelming process, proper slowed down, and we just make sure that they understand what they're doing. 100%.
And there in the sense it says expert support, that's for the clients, but it's not just for the clients, it's for you as advisors as well. We work closely with My Last Will and the legal team. If you've got a question for your clients or a question for you, or you need training beyond what we can offer you, then reach out to them and they'll quite happily get you booked in and spend time with you. What I do say is, of course, we will offer as much training as you need. We'll do one-to-one training. We can continue to do sessions over Zoom or face-to-face. I mean, as with anything, just ask and we can help you with that.
So this is the proper job sheet. So your advice is finished when you've gone through each of these points. So have you reviewed their protection, their life cover, critical illness cover? Have you got their renewal date for their mortgage? Have they got a will? Yes, no, get them booked in. Pension, as I said before, people don't really know what their pension has. It's kind of one of them things that go over their head. I know mine is a bit over my head. And yeah, it's getting it booked in with a referred advisor, and just making sure you've checked all those points off and you're doing making use of all the opportunities you've got there. Obviously health insurance, home insurance renewal date, business protection. I think Mark and Kate still have licenses for business protection. Right. Health insurance, I've got a license. Trusts, obviously, 2 trustees or more, that's for your next clients. Business creates business. Same with the referrals as well.
Referrals, come on, what we want. Listen, if you do a good job for somebody, you know what I mean, with what we just talked about there, if you have covered the cost of their will, You've established they've not got a trust, and you've explained the importance and given them a free trust. You've reviewed the protection and set it up and bespoke to them. You've promised to contact them with regards to the mortgage renewal date. You've discussed health insurance and they've actually considered that. So you're going to make a recommendation for that for them. We'll say they haven't got a business in this occasion. So that's, we'll disregard that. With pensions, you can offer them a free financial health check to find out, what the value of the existing fund is. Is it performing? Is it doing what it should be? And does it need to be in a better position? And then, of course, the last one, if you've done all that for a customer and you say to them, who else do you know? Who else do you know who I can speak to? More importantly, can you give me 5 names of people I can offer these services to as well? You've got to step outside your comfort zone with that. So if you ask for 5, you'll probably get 2 or 3. If you ask for 10, you'll get 5. And that's just kind of how it works. So have a check sheet for every client. I'd encourage you to set up an Excel spreadsheet with columns to say, client 1, have you done the protection? Have you done a will? And tick it or color code it, make it fun. But no, it says in the quote there, nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. Don't feel you can't talk about these areas lightly throughout the process and plant the seed. And if there's some interest there, or you establish there's a need there, then go into detail. Because if they don't want it, they'll tell you they don't want it. But if you don't ask, you don't get, as Kayleigh said. Next steps.
So next steps, obviously, if you guys do want any more training, you do really think that, wills are kind of how you want to get started, get your lead generation, which I strongly encourage, gets your confidence built up, book in some time, give us a call at the office over Zoom, or if you're local, come on in. We'll talk you through it, give you some advice and really help you to get behind the process, which it's just so invaluable. It really is.
Yeah, and of course, to use that My Last Will platform, we've got company login details that we can give you access to. We will give you access to as being part of the business. The wills do cost money. We are covering the cost of the wills as a company. Now, we pay for a service month to month to be able to use that platform, and we've got the ability to charge for wills, and I would never encourage you to do that. Now, don't offer free wills because that cheapens you as an advisory service, but say you'll cover the cost of the will. So you get a specific code that you can use when you log into the platform that enables the wills to be free for your clients. Shouldn't have said free, but at no cost. But exactly that Kayleigh just mentioned. Next steps is if you want to take this up, which if you're protection advisor, for me, it's a must, then, book an appointment with Shannon, with Kayleigh, with myself, to go over it as a one-to-one now and get you set up. You'll have access to all the documents we've discussed this evening, the PJS, proper job sheet, if you didn't hear what that was, the action sheet, the tick list, the cheat sheet, of course, and a lot of other documentation that we put into the iCloud. If you've had your installs, you'll have access to, or if you've not yet had your installs, we can provide it and make sure that install's done for you, over the coming days, if not over the next week or so. Finally, Kayleigh, I'll leave it with you. Sign us off.
So, coming soon to a Sharpen the SAW, but near you. So next week we've got Aviva, absolutely class products. You've got your global treatment, your extra care cover, fracture cover. There's so many benefits with Aviva. Yes, they are additional costs, but so worth it. So that'll be a really good session to listen to. Then Joanne Legg, almost said Kelway then, is back and really going through the LV product, which, it really is up there, LV. They're really all about, front customer care, and, their GP service is just incredible. So don't miss out on that one. And then, of course, we've got Guardian with Uzma Evening. Now, this is just such a good product. It really is a Ferrari, not a Fiesta. And, with the auto upgrades that you've got there, they really take the client into account and just, make use of every opportunity they can to retain the client. So stay tuned, come back, sharpen your SAW.
Good on you. And thank you to Kayleigh for this evening. I know presenting sometimes can be a little bit of a, oh, you've got to get organised with it. You've got to pass around this, that, the other. You can tell now Kayleigh's in a comfort zone. I mean, she's a protection specialist. She's a wills and trust specialist. She knows what she's doing. So utilize her, and she's here to help you. But I want to say thank you to Kayleigh for, you know, everything you've done over, especially the last 12 months. You've grown significantly as our advisor. You're smashing it out of the park now. You're an absolute superstar, and you're just going to take it even further. I know you are. And set an example before the Meg has, the Rachels, the Lizzies keep chasing you, and hopefully you don't let them catch you.
Nah, it's not going to happen.
So yeah, thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. If anyone's got any questions, by all means, stay on the chat now, and we'll get them answered for you. If not, enjoy your evening, and yeah, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling.
Mark, I don't know whether you saw my message, but I just wondered if you'd mind checking to see whether my will appointment in the morning has sent his form in.
Oh, someone did send a form in, actually. What's his name?
Paul Andrews and his wife.
Yeah, they have actually. So I'll get that sent over to you. I'll get that put
Amazing.
in your folder. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. It's at 9:30, so I don't want to miss getting a chance to have a look at it first.
Yeah, we'll get it dropped in for you now. So you'll have it in the next
No
5
worries.
Any
Amazing.
problems,
Thanks,
drop us a WhatsApp if you can't access that for any reason, but it should just drop straight into your iCloud for you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
No worries, Lizzie. Obviously, you'd seen a lot of that, hadn't you, Lizzie? But
Yeah.
how do you think that session went tonight? Sorry to disturb you, but I know you got to get off.
That's all
Just
right.
quickly.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it was, as like you said, it is such an easy system. And I sat down the other day, and like I said to you, did one of my husbands, and I sort of almost said to him, right, come here, sit down, tell me what you want, and it is really, really simple. You know, even obviously we did the whole thing, but even doing the funeral preferences, it's just so easy.
Absolutely.
You
I appreciate
know.
it. Just keep doing it. It's you know what I mean? It's one of them. You'll get so much value from it. But yeah, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. I won't keep you any longer.
Yeah, that's right.
See you later.
Have a good one. See you later. Bye.
Do you know what? It was true before. I ate a Lion bar. I muted myself and turned my camera off while I did the cheat sheet.
I thought you would. You normally do, don't you?
Not your Lion bar. Yours is still here. I'm on about I bought 2.
Did you? I'm signing off now. Bye.